Hello curious and welcome back. Demi Lovato's brand new docuseries has recently premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and it left audiences stunned at just how strong the singer was and how directly she had spoken about things that had happened to her. Lovato's problems with illicit substances and her mental health struggles have been known to the singer's fans for a long while now, but in the series, she opens up about things that people had no idea about or things she only alluded to in her music without any explanation of them. What dark moments from her past did she talk about? Why is Father's Day a trigger for the singer? What happened that made her younger sister break down crying? What did the singer go through while still a Disney star that shocked fans? And what did the singer say about her ex-fiancé Max Eckrich? Stay with us until the very end to find out all of the shocking revelations the sober singer made, but before we continue, don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. The series, which premiered at the film festival on March 16th, takes place over a period of 3 years. It originally started when the singer decided to film a completely different documentary, one that has now been scrapped, and one that was supposed to follow her around on her Tell Me You Love Me tour. As we mentioned before, fans had known to a certain extent what the singer had gone through, but despite that, some of them, after watching the trailer, which was initially released on February 17th, had difficulty wrapping their minds around the amount of damage she had suffered following her overdose, which included 3 strokes, a heart attack, and blind spots in her vision, which now prevent the singer from driving anymore. The Dancing with the Devil documentary is directed by Michael D. Ratner, who had previously worked on the Justin Bieber Seasons docuseries. If some fans are thinking that this is just a project she started working on in 2018 reimagined, then they would be wrong. It has completely different foundations and refocuses the narrative from center stage, and even as Lovato herself said, with the previous one, they would have only captured the tip of the iceberg. The things talked about in great details had meant that YouTube Originals had featured several trigger warnings before each episode. The first 2 episodes of the documentary will be available on YouTube from tomorrow, March 23rd, but given it was aired at the film festival before, this video will feature spoilers, so you have been warned. Now, if you have decided to stick around, let's look at some of the most shocking things the documentary talks about. One of the things that the singer had candidly spoken about was her father, Patrick Lovato, who passed away in June 2013. He had struggled with addiction to high percentage beverages and illicit substances, as well as suffering from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. She had been estranged from him since 2007 after she witnessed him abusing her mother Diana, something she had written in her 2008 memoir Falling with Wings, A Mother's Story. Demi opened up about how no one in her family knows the exact date on which he passed away because his body was discovered a week and a half after his passing. Father's Day is a difficult one for Lovato, as she said she spends it contemplating which date was that he passed away on, adding that it was her biggest fear that she had for him, that one day he would end up alone, which he did. Speaking of family, Demi's younger sister Madison de la Garza also featured on the show and talked about the first time she had seen her older sister in the hospital following her overdose. The 19-year-old said that when she grabbed Lovato's hand, she looked her dead in the eye and said, "Who is that?" Now that surely is a moment that was shocking to many and possibly even brought a tear to the eye. The reason for this was that when the skyscraper singer woke up, she was legally blind. She remembered asking her younger sibling who she was, which caused the younger girl to start crying because, according to the artist, she thought from then on I was not going to be able to see. Dr. Shuri Lari, a neurologist who was one of her doctors, explained that one of the initially affected areas of her brain was the vision centers. There are other traumatic experiences that the singer talks about that had affected her life, so make sure you stay until the end. As the singer herself said, that was quite an ironic and in a weird way a poetic turn of events that she physically wasn't able to see Madison, the reason for which she explained was that her main reason for getting sober and better was the desire to have a relationship with her younger sibling. Her parents had told her that in the state she was previously in, she wasn't able to see De La Garza, despite the fact that she wanted to have a relationship with her. Talking about this in the documentary, the artist got emotional and said that God has a twisted sense of humor sometimes. Speaking of her overdose, one of the things that she had talked about in detail was how she got to that point and also the point in her life where she wrote sober. On March 16, 2018, DJ Khaled and Kalani had celebrated Demi's 6-year anniversary of her sobriety, but a month after that, she had gone back to using not only high percentage beverages, but also illegal substances. Though if you want to know more about what happened then and all her past problems prior to it, you can do so by watching our previous video. For now, make sure you stay until the very end. When she had returned to Los Angeles after her tour finished, she was once again using the substances, but that no one knew about it because she was so good at hiding the fact she was addicted. In the series, her friends Matthew Scott Montgomery and Sarah emphasized her secrecy with regard to that night and how it all played into a pattern of hiding things from her friends and family, with Sarah adding that they really didn't know about the illicit substances. Of course, the singer also talked about that fateful event of July 24th, 2018, when she had overdosed and how her then assistant's actions had saved her life. Jordan Jackson also featured on the program and talked about that as more people had come into the home that morning she found Lovato, she sneaked downstairs as she called 911 out of fear for calling for help. Though it seems that her fears were for nothing, as Max Lear, the chief of staff, said he was impressed by how she handled the emergency. Lovato, who had suffered multiple organ failures, said she was lucky to be alive because, as the doctors had told her, had it been 5 to 10 more minutes until her assistant had come in, she wouldn't be here telling her story. It's at the end of the second episode where Demi talks about something else that she had gone through the previous night. The singer started saying that she had her share of childhood and teenage trauma after being intimately abused, a topic which we will talk about more in a moment. The artist revealed that the same night she was visited by the man who supplied her with the substances, and she said, and here we quote, "I was literally left for dead after he took advantage of me." Despite telling doctors that her relation was consensual, she added that it wasn't until a month after it happened that she realized she was not in any state of mind to make consensual decisions. Despite that, she said that after a week-long intensive trauma treatment, she had called the man back because she wanted to rewrite his choice of violating her, and she now wanted this to be her own decision. She wanted to take her power back, and she said that it only brought her to her knees, begging God for help. Another thing she said, she turned back to her illegal substances, and after using them, she said she was mortified by her decisions. We mentioned that Lovato touched upon having trauma from her childhood and teenage years that stemmed from her being intimately abused. This was something that she had previously hinted at in her 2013 song Warrior, which starts with the lyric, "This is a story that I have never told." In 2017, she told Cosmopolitan magazine that it's something that she'll talk more about when she's ready, and it seems that the time came with the Dancing with the Devil documentary. She began saying that it took her this long to talk about what happened after pictures came out of Rihanna and Chris Brown's assault case. She said they had made her very uncomfortable with even more of her own story playing out in the press and maybe people not believing her. It was then that she began talking about her story of how her first time happened as a teenager when someone had forced themselves on her, and just as it was with the case of her dealer, she had called that person a month later to try and make it right by being in control, but that had just made her feel worse. And with this, she also touched upon her days as a Disney star. The docuseries showed archival footage of Lovato from Camp Rock 2 days, and an old interview showed just how aware a young Demi quickly became from needing to protect herself in the industry. Reflecting on those days and pointing out that she was part of the crowd that publicly said they were waiting till marriage, and noting the pressure that she faced in such a PG environment as a little child star role model. She never named the person who had intimately abused her, but she did say that it was a person who she saw all the time while they never faced any consequences, and that they weren't even taken out of the movie that they were filming. Finishing her Me Too story, the singer said, "I'm coming forward about what happened to me because everyone that it happens to should absolutely speak their voice if they can and feel comfortable doing so." In the fourth and final episode, the topic had changed to that one of her ex-fiancé, Max Eckridge. She discussed in earnest their breakup and spoke that she had never turned to illicit substances to cope afterward. Due to the pandemic, some of the clips were filmed by Lovato herself from her home, and in one of them she was seen tearfully saying she missed the person she started quarantining with. She touched upon that period had not only impacted how rapidly their relationship had evolved, and said that once she got to know Eckridge better, she was just as shocked as the rest of the world. If you want to know more about their breakup, then you can do so by checking out our previous video. So curious, what has surprised you the most about Lovato's revelations? Did you know about some of the things that she had gone through? Are you a fan of the singer? Do you plan on watching the docuseries once it's out? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.